My daughter-in-law, they have a farm.
Doesn't
They
get
do
married,
that.
right?
They get rid of it.
Oh, no, it does.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, March 27th. If you'd like to please rise for the invocation, or not for the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, Mayor, before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, may I ask you kindly if we did just have a word of prayer for the latest shooting that we had and remembering those kids and
Certainly.
the 3 dead, if you don't
In
mind.
Nashville?
Right?
Yes.
Because I know that's what's on your mind. You know, you can't, have woken up this morning without hearing that news and we're hurting here in America. And I feel it, and, the tears flow. You just don't know what to do. But I know that if we do take a moment of silence, I know somebody's listening to us that can make a difference. So, Mayor.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor. Thank
I
you.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Haramza. Councilmember Lamb. Councilmember Mosrak.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here, you have the minutes from the regular meeting of March 13th. Is there a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair. Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any changes? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes stand as submitted. We have one presentation tonight. If the clerk would please read it.
Blue Water Area Chamber of Commerce will provide an update on ARPA funding.
Do you want to come forward?
Good evening, City Council Mayor, City Council members, and City Manager. Thank you for this opportunity to share our progress on Explore Port Huron. In 1917, our chamber was established, and at that time, the chamber had a tourism committee, which over time morphed into the Blue Water Convention and Visitors Bureau. Fast forward, although we are a business membership organization located in the heart of downtown Port Huron, we also have continued to do our part to encourage tourism in the city of Port Huron. Our chamber understands the impact tourism has on our business community. In 2021, the city of Port Huron asked the Blue Water Area Chamber of Commerce if they would be interested in administering a multi-year marketing campaign focused on encouraging people from outside the region and people from the area, in terms of the city of Port Huron, to be a tourist and explore the city of Port Huron. Today, we will share with you the why, how, and what we have done these past 15 months to showcase the city of Port Huron's amenities and assets. The Chamber knows that they cannot do it alone, so we hired a few professional entrepreneurs. Andrew Jowett, who owns his own company, Andrew Jowett Photography, and he actually just flew in from Florida. That's how important this is for us. Ben Coburn with Breakthrough, Keely Baraboo, who owns her own company, Steady Keo Communications, and Patty Samar, who owns her own company, The Right Company, to help the Chamber deliver the results the city of Port Huron was looking for. And this evening, we're all here except Patty. She's not able to attend tonight because she is actually in Italy. We are going to share why we are so excited with the results we have achieved so far in this short, relatively time frame. The city administration, the city council, and the community as a whole has spent a great deal of time, energy, and money improving so many community assets for the benefit of residents and visitors alike, such as our improved parks and recreation facilities, the McMorran Plaza that we get to see every day right in front of our building, and more. Tourism is a very important economic driver, and because of the council's efforts to make so many improvements over time, our community is worthy of attracting visitors and we are truly an undiscovered gem in the state of Michigan. Budgeting funds to promote these city tourism assets will undoubtedly bring about an economic return. We hope at the end of this presentation tonight, you will feel the same way and will continue to work with us to continue the work to showcase the city of Port Huron, encourage others to see the city of Port Huron as a destination that they would like to explore. You will hear from Andrew Jowett, who will tell us why we created the website together with images and videos to highlight the assets in the city of Port Huron and how the website can showcase the assets of this city. He also places the videos he has created on our Facebook page, and we've gotten tremendous results from that, and we've gotten a lot of support and a lot of reaction. And we use some of those videos for promotional opportunities, and we've heard from other communities that they've seen them, and that's what we want, not only for them to see them, for them to come and visit us. You will hear from Ben Coburn, who manages our online marketing campaign, and he will speak on the importance of the various campaigns and the impact they have on drawing people to the city of Port Huron. We hired 2 marketing and public relations writers to handle the content on the website and the Facebook page. Keely Berber will be sharing why it is important to tell the city of Port Huron's story and while maintaining the branding throughout the messaging. After this comments, we can answer any questions you have, and we want to thank you again for this opportunity to showcase to you what we've done with the ARPA funds. With that, Andrew's going to come on up. And
Perfect. Thank you, Thelma, and thank you, council members, for the opportunity to present to you tonight. This tourism campaign was conceptualized and ultimately named Explore Port Huron to encourage viewers to explore the hidden gem we call home and showcase to them the amazing lifestyle and amenities they can experience here. One of the first steps we took was creating a digital home base, and we did that by creating exploreporthuron.com. The website highlights our year-round attractions in a visually first way, with unique photos and videos along with continually updated content, both images and written. The website is a place where one can see attractions we have, accompanied by direct links to where they can learn even more through the appropriate organization. Along with the website, we've started social media accounts to consistently publish content in the digital space to further the mission of making Port Huron the place to be. To create a recognizable brand, team member Patty Samar was instrumental in creating branding material that we feel reflects the overall feel we want to portray with Port Huron. We've chosen these orange and blue colors to represent the sunrise over our waterways and the blue water underneath. This branding is consistent throughout all of our messaging. One of the aspects of the site that I'm personally very proud of is the imagery that we've collected and continue to collect. Through my lens, we've been able to highlight the lifestyle of Port Huron with faces that are relatable and diverse. This is more than just pretty pictures, but a strategic methodology. The goal is to be at the forefront of compelling imagery and authentic storytelling among our peers throughout Michigan, and to elicit not only action from our viewers, but to start the process of forming a connection with our city. Above all, make these images and videos stand out. Keely Baraboo will now chat about some of the written content.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Thelma. Council, this has been a real pleasure project for me to work on behalf of my company with such a great caliber of colleagues, and to put our creative collective uses together for such a passion project for me, which is also personal, and that's promoting Port Huron. I think we all love this place where we work, play, and thrive. And it was important looking at the assets that we have now more than ever to really showcase and highlight some of the emerging assets. We've come so far, and we have so many important and exciting things on the horizon. And we wanted a showcase piece through social media and the website that complemented what some of the inventory was that we already have with our tourism assets. And those include, obviously, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, different sites, as well as the DDA. This showcase is more than what the DDA does because it goes outside of the footprint of downtown. So we wanted to be sure to highlight some of the biggest traveled sites that we have, such as the Lighthouse, for example, and a little bit further south than the downtown sector goes. And we know that the Convention and Visitors Bureau does a fabulous job at bringing tourism from not just all over, Michigan and all over the Midwest region, but certainly the country and even globally to our area. But we wanted to be able to really put that fine point on Port Huron. We wanted to make something that was very Port Huron centric and specific. So we wanted to be inclusive with those different assets and that have already been created in those organizations and do what they're doing very well and complement them rather than have any type of competition aspect. And so through, Andrew is humble, his pretty pictures, as he says, his pictures speak more than 1,000 words. They speak a million on a million on a million words. His talent, I think, is first class, and really it's been really exciting to see all of this come together. And I think what's been so exciting as Patty and I have sat down and really been sort of the unified voice in the written content for this is that, we get to shape sort of what the people, not only in Port Huron, but might be considering coming here to spend those dollars, spending their time, spending their family trips, spending maybe even investments here, would be interested in Port Huron. So it's kind of fun to put yourself in that perspective as well when you're going through those different exercises. So it's been a great pleasure, and I'm really proud of the work that we've done so far. I think what Thelma's referring to, where the feedback that we've gotten has been really exciting, especially some of the people that have been impressed from Macomb and other neighboring areas. And this has been about really establishing to the Port Huron audience within ourselves what tourism in Port Huron potentially could look like if we're highlighting our assets. And our goal moving forward would really be the next phase of this, really looking outside of the community and probably targeting 1 or 2 strategic sites like Flint or Macomb or even Sarnia, and seeing what type of traction we could get that would be measurable and also just anecdotal with people coming here. So it would be really building on a great foundation that I think we've accomplished so far. So I'm hoping that this sets the stage for that. So I'm going to have Andrew jump back in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, in just a few moments, Ben Coburn's going to come up and talk a little bit about the progress we've made through the digital advertising with the videos. But before that, I want to show a quick highlight of some of the imagery that we have been using and will be used in future advertisements.
Sure.
Very short. Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you. Pushing the left.
It looks great, trust me. You're going to love it.
The little arrows to the left of it, probably can't see it from the glare.
Oh. Thank you for your continuous work. You're welcome. Something different. Yeah, I think our IT guys are up there looking like they're impressed.
Scrambling.
Yeah, they're scrambling.
Earlier today at work, so.
Oh, okay.
How it goes.
Now, those were clips that we've had from a number of digital ads we've done so far. And again, you saw that there were some that we haven't showcased yet that we're going to be using in the future. Now, Ben Coburn's going to come up and talk about the progress we've made with those ads.
Thanks, Andrew, and thanks, Council, for the time. We were able to deliver over 2.4 million impressions. Now, an impression is an ad that was served to someone's computer, tablet, phone, smart TV. We had some serious eyeballs on exploreporthuron.com. The targeted regions were users in St. Clair, Macomb, Oakland, Lapeer, Genesee, and Lambton counties. The idea was to target people that were within 75 minutes or less away from Port Huron and likely to come here and experience Port Huron in person. With these digital ads, we were able to target users that were likely to travel, explore, go to events. We were also able to retarget users that came to the website. So if you found your way to exploreporthuron.com, we were able to send banner ads and video ads back to your phone or whatever device that you were on. In 2022, we ran campaigns for Chili Fest, a summer branding campaign, a fall branding campaign, a campaign for My Favorite Snack, and a campaign for the Port Huron Museum. In 2023, we look forward to running many more successful digital advertising campaigns to showcase exploreporthuron.com. Thank you for your time. Thelma, you're up next.
Again, this was just a snapshot of what we've worked on for these last 15 months. I know the various times that we've shared the videos that we've been doing. City manager's been nice enough to share them out with you, so you guys were well aware of all the various campaigns that we've done. But again, it's just a little piece of what we've been working on. We're really excited. We think the future is bright for us as well as for you, and we really did appreciate you asking us to take on this additional task and make it work. And I think that hopefully you feel the same way that we do, that it is a great opportunity, a great start, but we want to continue that work.
Well, thank you, and thank you for a great job, all of you. I mean, it really looks professionally done, as it should, but yes, and it's really a nice reflection of Port Huron, so thank you very much. Does anybody on the council have questions for Thelma?
Or for any of us?
Or any of you?
It is a team effort.
Yes.
Including Joyce back there.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, if I could, before the questions start, I just want to thank Thelma. One of the directions from the mayor and council when you award the ARP funds was that you wanted an effort that included everybody, not just Chamber of Commerce members. You wanted to be inclusive of all the businesses in the community. I attended a couple of the meetings you first started out. You had, I think, 26 different business owners. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure if a fraction of them were members of your organization, but Thelma did an amazing job bringing businesses that normally aren't at the table, that normally don't have a voice at the table, giving them a voice at the table, giving them a time to talk about what they think needs to happen. And so I really applaud you and your team on bringing outside voices to a table that they normally don't have a seat at. I think that's critically important that we're inclusive, and you were very successful with that. So I thank you for that and the regular updates from your team. The mayor and council have $18 million that you guys were spending to help recover from this pandemic, both social, economic, and government services wise, and you guys have done a terrific job of addressing the economic impact, generating foot traffic for our businesses. I don't know what impressions mean, 2.4 million impressions. It sounds, all I know is that a friend of mine who lives in Macomb was at Buddy's family restaurant with his family, and he texted me and he said, I've had dinner with my family and I've seen 5 Port Huron ads on the TVs while I've sat here. So that anecdotal is what I get. That's what I understand when my friends and family see it in the region. So I'm sure the analytics and the creepy, we can send a banner ad back to your phone work. But I appreciate when my friends and family text me and just say, we saw a really cool ad for Port Huron when we were having dinner. That is a true testament. So thank you, Thelma, for bringing those unheard voices to the table. That was very important to the mayor and council, and you were successful at that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions comments from the council?
Mayor Rupp, I just had a comment. Thanks to everybody for what you've done, but I love the idea of the campaign of bringing people from Macomb, Shelby around. I purposely on Chili Fest this year went around and introduced myself and asked people, where are you from? And I was amazed how many Macomb Township, Rochester, Detroit area. There was more people that I asked that said other areas than Port Huron. So that's working great, and I love that idea. So thanks for everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments?
Phil, I'd just like to say a job well done to you and your team, and I somehow, been blessed to be a part of some of those activities. And I think our chambers is one of the best in the United States of America. And you deliver. And actually what you have about yourself and your team is that you're intentional. You don't wait for, you don't do it for show. It's not for showmanship or anything. But everything you do and those impressions, those touches that you make, they're sustainable. They're not just, oh, just look at me, see what I'm doing, or getting a strike for us. But you have certainly catapulted the city of Port Huron to one of the highest heights that I've seen and I've been here a long time. And you have put that mark on us, and even some of us in here and that are watching, and they don't know what we're seeing right here, and they live in the city of Port Huron. So you're not only touching lives out there, you're opening the door in here. We have people that come stand before us and say, there's nothing happening in Port Huron. That's the biggest. I don't know what they're looking at, or if they're coming out of their house, but still, you have answered that pretty much for all of us, here in the city of Port Huron. And like I said, job well done, and we very much appreciate all that you do and your team, because it takes heart, and that's what you guys got. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll echo more of the same. I work down in Oakland County, and I often get harassed about living on the edge of the earth up here in Port Huron because it feels so far away to them. And I had many coworkers actually who started seeing ads in their social for Port Huron. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Jeff, I saw your Port Huron. It's actually not that far." I'm aware, and so you guys did a really great job. And again, even people locally that saw it, and the team you worked with, I happened to run into them as well. Same thing. I was out at the ice skating rink. You worked with a great team, and they were really polite. Asked if they could video, and I said, "Well, yeah, I love the campaign you're doing." So. Really good stuff, guys. Really, really impressed, and I agree with Keely that Andrew's work is by far some of the best I've ever seen.
Well, a job well done by all of you, so thank you. And I'm sure you still are continuing on it and will be continuing on it, so.
Yeah, the work is not done by any means. It's just a start, but we've had some great results, and we appreciate your believing in us and supporting us, and it's about having the right people on the team, and I think we've got.
That's true.
The right panel on this team.
That is true. So, thank you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
We will move on to public hearings, and we have one tonight.
To hear comments on the proposed 2023 Annual Action Plan.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to public hearing number 1 on the proposed 2023 Annual Action Plan?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city manager. I've kind of addressed the letter to most of you about these funds and where they're going. And I'm a little disturbed because I did get a response back from the planning department yesterday, and basically it sounds like their plans were to still limit the amount of cleanup work that we would do with these funds. And the object of my thing was, being we're changing the way we're picking up refuse with only one large items, that we were going to create a little bit of our own pandemic. And the response I got so far from Ms. Thomas basically would say that she's already talked to one area and that they'll probably get the cleanup money, but the rest don't seem to be able to fit the pattern. And this disturbing part that gets to me is when you start allocating funds to clean up one neighborhood and not the other one, you're taking a step in the wrong direction. So I appeal to you, when it gets down to the final decision, to spread this out throughout the whole city. Harrison Point, we moved there in 1968, and Harrison was a good old German-Russian neighborhood. Well, it's not that neighborhood anymore. And I know it's the same thing. Everybody, the identities have changed over the years because of the change in demographics. We used to have a school that the kids could walk to, and the minute the Harrison School closed down for elementary school, it changed the demographics of that entire part of the city. And I think it's done the same thing other places. Roosevelt is changing. Woodrow Wilson is changing. Cleveland changes about every 3 years because of demographics and stuff. So I think you got to be cautious when you start limiting expenditures. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to public hearing number 1? Seeing no one else, I'll declare public hearing number 1 closed. Now is the time for public comment. If there's anyone who wishes to address the council, please come forward and give us your name and where you live, and you have 4 minutes.
Hi, my name's Cole Crawford, 1219 Pine Street, Port Huron. I'm coming to the council today with a couple of concerns that I had. The first concern is I noticed that the light got fixed at SC4, but there were some issues after the light had gotten fixed, and it created like a daisy chain effect on all 4 sides now. So some of the stoplights for the crosswalk don't show the stop sign, like the hand going up in red. The other issue that I noticed around the city was the 7th Street Bridge. The hinge that is on that bridge going towards the old 7th Street slider bar. One of the pieces of sheet metal that hold that down is starting to flop around. And then the other thing I noticed was the city was doing voting for tax rates, or for taxes on the city municipality building after it gets sold. And I just had a couple of questions for you guys in regards to that. There was a few concerns that some of the residents had, and I think it would be beneficial to go over some of the reasoning as to why that is a concern for the residents. There were issues with, well, the reason why we were selling the building was because of the taxes needed to be collected on the building. Another reason why we were selling it was so that it was a little bit marketable with the waterfront. So I think it would be beneficial for you guys to explain why there would be a 10-year stop on the taxes, I guess, or brief hold on the taxes, just to explain the marketability behind it and the reason with the building needing so many repairs, why an investor would need that. Thank you.
Thank you. Our city manager's written down all of those things.
Yep.
Hello, Mayor, City Manager, Councilwoman, and Councilman. My name is Kevin Watkins, Wells Township resident, President of Port Huron Branch NAACP, and I work at the college, so I pay city taxes through that. So you know that I'm doing my part. I'm here to speak in representation of membership of NAACP in regards to speaking to kind of give encouragement to the council. We do the same thing with all the school boards, and also a warning. I speak with the warning. The warning first is that we're concerned about, we have to look at things broadly and then locally. And look at it broadly first, we'll look at what's happening around the country, and then the states and then our municipalities locally with DEI. And everyone knows what that is, diversity, equity, and inclusion. For years, that's been a hot topic, more than just now, but over a number of years. And then what would happen in our educational systems and in businesses, we send our managers and directors to a DEI presentation, a webinar, training, and then learn a lot, and then come back, and then it's business as usual. Really, the true definition of what diversity, equity, and inclusion means never really happened. But something happens just over 3 years, people start getting serious about it. We put together a St. Clair County a diversity initiative group. It was one of our main targets, looking at DEI through all businesses and the municipalities in St. Clair County. We've done a lot of membership, and I think we've made great progress understanding each other and what the importance of that. But in the environment now, from the nation down to, like I said, to the states and the local government, it's becoming some kind of way a bad word. I'm still waiting for one person to tell me, is it diversity a bad word? Diversity, all the ways in which people differ. Is equity a bad word? Fair treatment across, fair treatment, access, opportunity, and advancement for all people. Inclusion, is inclusion a bad word? All people have power, a voice, and decision-making authority. That is what you're talking about in that video was just shown. Just a great job with the chamber, and Port Huron Branch NAACP is a part of the chamber. One of the best things we've done, and recently being a part of that is worth its weight in gold. But I'm concerned because a lot of officials, school board members, and city officials and councils I seem to be running scared about pressure from people turning DEI into a bad word. I'm hoping that, and I'm encouraging our school board members and our city council members to don't let that happen. Ask yourself in the mirror every night, DEI, is it good or bad? And I've seen nothing, and I'm still waiting for someone to show me where diversity, equity, and inclusion is negative. And it's very important that all those three acronyms stay together. We have diversity, we know what that is. We have equity, we have inclusion, they come together. But when you start separating that, that's the beginning of tearing it, eroding it away. So keep that on in mind. I understand that your constituents out there, certain people believe different ways, but you have a job to do, and your job is to represent all the people, and understand representing all the people, you have a diverse population that's including everyone, looking at equity everyone, and then inclusion. So don't celebrate that video if you're not thinking that way and understanding that this city must embrace. You have a DEI office. You must embrace DEI wholly and speak out and let people know that that's where you stand. So we're hoping that we'll be here, we're watching what you're doing, and we encourage you, in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the time is always right to do what is right. And diversity, equity, inclusion is right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Good evening.
Hello.
How are you? I am Bishop Kim Brown, and I am a resident of Port Huron, 3516 Walnut Street, Huron, Michigan. And I want to come before our council tonight echoing again what it is, and I come on the behalf of SCORE, and then I'm also going to come on the behalf of Zion Cathedral of Praise. I'm coming on the behalf of SCORE, St. Clair County Organizing for Regional Equity, which is a small grassroots organization that started, obtained its 501c3, as you may know, in 2018, have been working in and alongside of other individuals in the city to help push along the efforts of DEI as well, and also just betterment, not just for some of our citizens, but all of our citizens. Part of our agenda is awareness, advocacy, and also education, and a service component where we ask people, if there are things that you're concerned about, then be willing to step up. What are you willing to do about what it is that you say that you're concerned about? And I'm so glad as a result of that we have had people doing that, and over this time to push the needle forward along with yourselves and the work that you do. It's not easy being a leader of anything, I can tell you that and understand. However, as a leader, we must make sure that for the least of the people that we speak the loudest, for those who feel they don't have any voice. I really want to encourage us, because we can talk about DEI. As you know, we can have different events, wonderful, beautiful events, and Thelma, a beautiful person, everything that is going on, I'm looking at the progress that is being made, so I really want to commend our board for that. But we can talk about it in word. We can have events, but until it systemically becomes a part of our culture, till DEI and what it represents and what it means affects each part of who we are, till our culture begins to change, till we're able to have the difficult conversations that are needed. And I want to encourage us, please don't stop what we've already started, because we've come a long way, but we've got a ways to go.
Amen.
We got to dig a little bit deeper to get to where it is I believe that we need to go. We have to have the hard conversations. We have to invite those to the table who may not have the information that everyone has, to cause them to feel like I too have a voice. I too can become a part. I can be a part of the change. That if I don't know, that there'll be somebody at the table who's willing to leverage the table so that we all can have a fair space and place to learn, grow, and help our city be better. And then the other part I want to come to is on the behalf of Zion Cathedral Praise, and thank you. We're going to do this in a more effective way, but we do want to thank the city for opening your doors to our congregation in a time that has been challenging for us, but it has been so wonderful. This thing of DEI, I'm so glad that it's allowed us to touch lives of people, other people of color, and those that are individuals within our city. We may have never had an opportunity for exchange, but through our adversity and difficulty, many have opened their doors to us of all colors throughout the city, inclusive of yourself, and I'm so glad that that was made possible, that we were able to enter into places.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Rep, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I left all my notes at home and whatever, but I used to, I'm former chaplain. I'm coming on behalf of the NAACP. I'm former chaplain at Lake Huron Medical Center. It was Mercy Hospital at the time. I was there for 8 years, pre-COVID. I've been a nurse there on and off for over 50 years, and I'm still working as a nurse, and I'm going on 75. I wanted to give you a little history of DEI. We didn't call it then. The Lord didn't call it then. I'm also a pastor, so I'm going to go that route. But diversity, equity, and inclusion. When I was a chaplain there, I was a committee of one person. And as a black woman among so many white people, as a Protestant among Catholics, it was a very hard journey. But we did, when I was praying, many times we had patients that were doctors, we had patients that were homeless, we had all kinds of patients, but what I wanted to do was give you a little history. In 1976, there was a gentleman of an organization here, which I will not name, that gave me an article that said, it was Port Huron Times-Herald, that said, would Port Huron or would the black and white ever come together? And a lot of the leaders, black and white, if I named them, said, no, they're not going to come together. Well, I said, Lord, why did this man bring this article to me? And the Lord said, because I want you to pray about it. So in me being a chaplain at that time, which I never thought I'd ever be something like that, that's where diversity came in. Sickness hits everyone. There were children, there were doctors that a lot of you all would know that died in that hospital. There were some that committed suicide. There were nurses that was. So when it comes to gracious words, the Bible says gracious words are like a honeycomb. And it says they're health to the soul and health to the body, health to the bones. So I think diversity, equity, and inclusion are gracious words. And I'm an example of that in that particular occupation as a nurse, hospice nurse. And Pauline Rep knows, you remember when we switched over from Mercy to Lake Huron Medical Center, it was a struggle. But we had to include everyone. We had Indian doctors, we had Indian patients, we had black, white, we had different ones coming in to help the hospital make that changeover. But it was diversified. It was inclusion. I had to die out to myself, and I had to use gracious words. And I wanted to encourage us to continue on with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
My name is Sharon Slangster. I'm at 8535 Emily City Road. I was going to come today and do a big speech, and I pastors for what I'm about to say. But honestly, when you go to a professional physician into McLaren County or into Port Huron and into these hospitals, I was re-diagnosed, diagnosed, undiagnosed, and they could not understand between I needed a gastroenterologist to a neurologist. I had to spend a night in the hospital because nobody understood what was wrong with me. I've been out of commission for almost a month and a half because of the situation. I don't know if it's because, you know, there are some clowns that are physicians, or if rumors are true that when people do stand up for the community here, for the sex offenders that do rely here, there's 417 of them here, that you guys are letting them stay here. It's, if you think they already haven't found other resources about how to get out of jail and to go into recovery in Port Huron, please think again. Better start educating yourself for the sex offender patterns that they have. You may think this, you made this community a Pandora box. They have tested the waters. Law enforcement has failed the community. It is easier to take a survivor to disclaim the crime. It is. It's easier to shut us up and let it go because they're now the victim because we stand up for ourselves. It says it's easier to silence the blind and blind the silence, which is true, but I will not be silenced. The law enforcement does not care. When you have a detective contact you, smirk over the phone and say, good luck, what do you do? Where does your hope go then? Or a law enforcement tells you to get cameras on my home. Why do I have to change my life and change everything for a sex offender? I won't. I will do what I was taught. I was taught to protect and provide. But I will also do what my father and my uncles taught me to do. Speak for freedom of speech. I'm a military child. I will provide spreading the injustice that is placed here in this county. I will provide them with outside resources so this county cannot this is sad, profit off of their mental health. You are destroying the humanity for greed here, for $200,000 for nonprofit housing that's in the middle of a community with children that have nothing but sex offenders in it. It's time for it has to stop. I would like all of you to have a blessed day. I want all of you to think about what you're doing to the children and women in this community. I will be making this further. I will be taking this further about what this county does to my health. For 8 years, this county could not figure out I had a thyroid problems. I have 8 years of lost memory. I have been violated. I have been put through the ringer because of Port Huron Township. Now I'm going to fight back. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Mayor and Council, Ken Harris, 1521 Wells Street. Just a couple things. One of the things that's on the consent agenda tonight kind of drew my attention, and it's the consent agenda for boards and commissions. And I guess what I'd like to know, basically I was told there that all residential property went up 5%. And I guess with that, that question will be, hopefully somebody can answer it. Is the city going to benefit by 5% raise in the property taxes for the citizens of Port York? The other thing that's kind of that's interesting but missing here is I think a report of that department should have told us how many people applied for a hearing and whether the hearing was regretful or positive. The Michigan Tax Tribunal over the years has worked pretty good for the citizens of the city of Port Huron or the state of Michigan. But I think that's part of the document that should be there. What were the end results? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Robert Hewitt, 1624 17th Street. I think I just broke the mic. Something to it anyways. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate Port Huron, and as you can see on my shirt, I love Port Huron. And I'm from Canada, and so it's kind of a strange thing, but I'm not attracted to this place. Just want to encourage you all in what you've been doing with Port Huron. The improvements that have been made here are awesome. My wife over there, we love Port Huron a lot, and we've seen a major difference in Port Huron since we've been around. So basically since 2010, tremendous changes, and want to thank David Haynes and James and even Mr. Harris here for helping us out over times and that, and the counselors that we know. Really appreciate everything that everyone has done, but the efforts that are being made are just amazing. However, I had no idea about that website. I had no, and I'm the guy who loves Port Huron. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing, and it's beautiful stuff. And I went on, and it's great stuff in that. But it's like, wow. So it just shows you missing the Canadian market. So I'm from London, and there's like 500,000 people there with lots of money and looking for places to go. So it's nice that James's friend saw the commercial, but I'd like to see the commercial at home too. I'd like to see some marketing towards Canada. That'd be excellent. And but I just want to encourage you all on all the changes that are being made. It's really excellent, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Our visitors that come to our Airbnbs, they absolutely love coming to Port Huron, and you can read the reviews if you go to on our web or on Airbnb. You can see the reviews that people give about Port Huron. Just a tip on it: a lot of our guests are from Ohio. A lot of our guests are from Chicago. Of course, there's lots from the metro area, but northern Michigan and things like that. So it's not just that close racial. I doubt it very much you'll get much from there. They know who you are. Right. They've been here. They love their city too, right? All that stuff too. I just would suggest that maybe someday, James knows my wish is that you'd light the bridge up. So if you go to Fort Erie in Buffalo, you can see the bridge, and it lights up at night and it goes crazy and does all sorts of amazing things. This is something that you could do for Port Huron that would make it even more known. But again, thanks for everything you do.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening? Seeing no one, I'll declare public comment closed. And we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. And we'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. On the items on the consent agenda, under communications, received and filed notification from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission about 2 applications that have been received, one from Renaissance Man Company for a new small distiller and on-premises tasting room at 318 Grand River Avenue, and the other one from Larry Jones for a new Class C license for the Wrigley Center at 318 Grand River Avenue. Received and filed a copy of the completed 2023 assessment roll, and confirmed and approved single lot special assessments for fines, assessments, and or cost of removing blight, blighting factors, and or causes of blight, as well as the abatement of nuisances, and approved the appointment of Josephine Jenkins to the Beautification Commission to fill a vacancy with a term to expire January 30th, 2026. With that, we will start with resolutions. Number 1.
Authorizing the city manager to purchase 3 new or used motor vehicles with a purchase price not to exceed $45,000 per motor vehicle to maintain the city's motor vehicle pool fleet.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Support.
Councilmember Mosrak, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Mr. Freed, would you like to make
Yes,
a comment?
Madam Mayor and Council, we typically purchase our vehicles with the state purchasing system called My Deal. Due to the inventory shortage, when you go to My Deal, it just says see dealer. There is no My Deals anymore. And so we've had success in the past. You guys were pretty innovative by allowing us to buy used vehicles and giving us the authority to have our fleet manager call around to the different dealerships and say, hey, We need a pickup truck, maybe low miles, a little bit used if he gets a good deal on one, and to be able to purchase used vehicles. We believe that we can do the same thing now with some lease returns at some of these dealerships for our police administration vehicles. We'd like to diversify the fleet a little bit as well. So this just allows our professional experts in fleet management to go to the dealerships, solicit bids for some used vehicles or new vehicles. Depends on, you know, what's in the lot, what could actually be cheaper. But again, we're trying to be innovative to address both the shortage of vehicles but also inflation cost. And you know, I never buy a new vehicle personally. I always buy a used vehicle. So if it's good enough for me, it's got to be good enough for the city staff. So that's what we want to do, is buy a used vehicle. It's difficult with a used vehicle because you just can't put out a bid document and solicit bids. You kind of got to just call up each dealership and say, what do you got on the lot? But we have professional staff who know how to do that, who know how to compare the vehicles. And so you're authorizing them to use their professional judgment to go out and buy 3 vehicles, the best deal they can find.
Any questions for City Manager?
Mayor Rapp?
Yes.
James, are these replacing vehicles?
Yes, we have a couple vehicles that are actually getting beyond service repair. So it's a food chain. So when you bring a new vehicle in, it gets pushed down. It goes to public safety, and then when it's not safe enough to run code or run emergency response, it gets pushed down to an administration vehicle. And so the problem is we delayed vehicles for a year right before COVID because we thought, our fleet's looking kind of new. And so we delayed a year, and then COVID hit, we couldn't get new vehicles. So now we have some vehicles that are on the road that are 150 to 160,000 miles. They're at the bottom of the food chain. So when we bring a new vehicle in, it pushes those vehicles out to be sold or auctioned off. So that's where we were at. Some of the lower vehicles are just too unsafe to drive at this point.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone on council?
Is it budgeted?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes.
It is, okay. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, item 2.
Authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Port Huron to take all actions and execute and/or record all documents necessary to approve and accept conveyance and dedication of 200 vacant lot Court Street right-of-way and to improve the property in a condition as determined by the city of Port Huron to become a city street.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherak.
Madam Mayor and Council, several decades ago, I'd say 2 decades ago almost at this point, we conveyed this road right-of-way to Atchison Ventures for possible future development. And it seemed to make sense at the time, but as the years passed, we realized there were some unforeseen consequences of this. And that means a lot of parcels that were landlocked that couldn't be developed because they didn't have a street frontage. And so by bringing this property, this parcel back into the street system, we were able to utilize Act 51 money to maintain and upgrade that system. So for everyone who goes to the farmer's market on the weekends and they complain about the horrible driving conditions going into Desmond Landing, that's because it's no longer a city street. By calling it back, not only are we able to maintain it and use state funding to maintain it, but this is an economic development issue. It makes all of those adjoining parcels readily available for future development because they have an address and their own street frontage. The brewery and the old depot faced this challenge when they didn't have any street frontage and LCC wouldn't give them a liquor license. So we had to work around that. So this is just a common sense solution to bring this couple hundred feet of road that was already a city road. It was off the map for a decade or so, but to bring it back on the map, get it into the street system, get Act 51 appropriation funding to it, and allow the city to maintain it, upgrade it, and let those parcels be developable.
This is just up to where the parking lot is then?
So it's going down Court Street, and when it begins dirt after 4th, to the gateway, right there.
Yeah.
But those parcels on both sides will now be able to be developed with their own address. So should the depot want a liquor license, should any of those parcels want an address to be developed, it's an economic development issue.
Right.
So just one of those things we look back on and say, yeah, it seemed good at the time, but after 15, 20 years, maybe calling it back makes sense.
And those street improvements, all that is included in that?
Well, in future planning, yes.
Future planning,
Yeah, but this will allow our street system to at least go out there and throw some 22A down and grade it on a weekend.
Yeah. Mayor Rapp?
Yes, go
Oh,
ahead.
I just want to say, Dave and Jasmine, you guys should be really feel good about this encouragement because we've been talking about something like this for a long time in development and you know, housing and just staging it for something to happen. And that's what Port Huron needs, because I still say our city, you know, we're kind of like behind the 8 ball, you know, the housing and all that you're doing. And then when you collectively do this, you have a strategy that, you know, that we can boast about. So this is something that we are doing, you know, taking a leap of faith and making it happen, because it wasn't just going to happen. And you guys have been doing some great things, so just keep up the good work. You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Item 3.
Approving the purchase agreement with DTE Electric Company to furnish, install, and maintain 51 metal posts with LED roadway area lights located along Thomas Edison Parkway, Thomas Edison Drive, and Prospect Place.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosrek.
Madam Mayor and Council, those lights, those street lights along the Edison Parkway are original to that development. We've had some cabling issues where the lights don't work. We've had issues where the light poles are literally just falling over because they're so rusted out. So we own those lights. We get billed for those lights on a metered rate. That's not the most effective way to do it. The most effective way to do it is use the municipal street lighting program through DTE, which is a fixed rate based on the LED lights. One of the challenges is you have to have light poles there. They're tall by design, so if you're in Edison Shores, which is an elevated terrain, if you have a typical street light there, your street light would be at eyesight. It would block your view of the river. So we need unconventionally high streetlights like you would have in a parking lot there to not obstruct the view of the river for those folks. This is the identical light that we have installed in the West Quay parking lot, which are really sleek, a lot lower profile. They're dark sky compliant. It's hard to believe that there's 51 light posts throughout there. So we will use the construction for this. The construction funding will come from major and local streets. So under Act 51, we're allowed to construct the lights using street funding, but the operation will come from the general fund. So on an annual basis, the operations will come out of the general fund, which will actually be a cost reduction given that we meter those lights ourselves and they're not all LEDs right now. So overall, there'll be a return on investment in probably 5 to 10 years, but really the cost of construction and replacing all those lights is just encumbersome at this point. But for folks who drive by and see the orange barrels over a fallen street light, we can't get parts for them. It's hard to replace them. So this is a holistic approach to fixing that area. On your radar is the boardwalk lights, which we'll have to address in the next 10 years as well.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, Councilmember Ashford.
Yeah, so who owns the lights? We still own the lights, or DTE?
We own the lights currently. It's very difficult to replace parts, so we can invest in buying all new lights and installing the lights and maintaining the lights. But over the long horizon, the municipal lighting program through DTE is more cost effective to citizens.
Oh, okay, so you're going to use DTE for that?
Correct.
Oh, okay. And then also, when you mentioned LED, and then that's a cost saving for us, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay, it's good, all good. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor Rupp.
Yes. Anybody else? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Item 4.
Approving the home ARP allocation plan.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Ashford.
Madam Mayor and Council, I would give you an explanation, but I think Jasmine Thomas could provide you a better explanation than I could.
Probably.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for that.
Glad to see you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we were lucky enough to get an allocation from HUD of Home American Rescue Plan dollars. These dollars are targeted towards homeless and formerly homeless populations. They are restricted dollars for those populations, so we are pretty set on who we can serve. This allocation plan, which was kind of long, if anyone took the pleasure of reading through it, on page 12, the allocations are listed out. 15% of the allocation automatically is put towards administration and planning. I will not be administering any of these funds internally. I will be putting out an RFP to to go towards the nonprofits to administer these programs. So most likely they will get some of the administration dollars to administer the programs. We are putting almost $200,000 towards supportive services. This can be used for child care, job training, housing counseling, some very great supportive services for vulnerable populations. And I look forward to partnering with some nonprofits who can take that on. We have some capable nonprofits in our community. I've worked with the CSCB to talk about this funding, and there are some entities that are willing to take on these dollars. $400,000 will go towards development of a non-congregate shelter. You guys have been great to award $200,000 of ARPA dollars for the temporary shelter. Hopefully this will provide a permanent solution. We're currently looking for a location. I'm on the ad hoc committee for locating a shelter. So there is a committee of people working really hard towards finding a permanent location, and there's funding available to make rehab repairs, purchase it, and things like that. And then we're putting in almost another $200,000 towards tenant-based rental assistance, and that will provide short-term assistance for rent, security deposit, utility deposits for people that are at risk of homelessness or are homeless. And then there's almost $141,000 for administration. So we had a total allocation of $937,946. This money has to be spent by I think 2030, so we have some time, but HUD is pushing for us to submit this plan. I actually have to submit this tomorrow. So we're not just sitting on the money, and we're putting it out into the community. I'm hoping to get an RFP out this summer for the funding, and so we can get spending.
Any questions for Jasmine?
Yeah.
Yes,
Somebody
go ahead.
had one, don't we?
No, go ahead.
Jasmine, you mentioned the homeless shelter, the temporary, it's just temporary, like when we start off, but seeking a new one, so you're not anywhere close to identifying anything?
No, as far as a permanent location, we've been looking at different buildings. We are working with a real estate agent to locate something permanent. So we're really hoping to have something up and running for winter.
Oh, okay. And is there any small possibility that you would go back to All Nations, or is that more close?
I think the funding is an issue as far as continuing that on as a permanent warming center.
Right, okay.
And we do want to have a permanent location where people can get, supportive services. It can be open 24/7 and be open year round.
Okay. And then I would like to tell you, you started off, you say we were lucky enough to get, to get this and everything, but I don't think luck had anything to do with it. You earned it, and you guys got a track record now. And so that's why you got it, because you deserve it, your department and what you're doing. And then also, I want to actually, my former council member, he and I used to always wonder about this, the consultation and the people that we go to have input in this. Remember, we get this year after year, and we turn the pages, and it's only 2 or 3 people or whatever, but you have taken the liberty now of, here's, agencies, the homeless service, but, you got so many people included in this, and that's one of the main factors that the ARP asks for anyway.
Yes.
Without ARP, we should have had it, but they require this.
Yes.
And we would like to, at least I would like to see, or hopefully more people having input in here, because we're in this all together.
Yes.
And if they can't speak, it's not up to us to just be calling these shots. They're the one, we serve them, so.
Yes.
So we get to hear them and listen to them, and I see you are listening to them, the way this plan is being worked out.
Yeah, the shelter was the #1. We did a community survey. I did a CSCB session, a virtual session just for the community at large. Then there was the public hearing here. The ad posted in the newspaper, we posted it on the website.
Right.
So there was a significant amount of public outreach, but the community has really given me great feedback. So.
I'm telling you, you've done, and I know, you've done a great job with this,
Thank you.
and branching it out and making the people that need to be in the know. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Is there anyone else that has any comments? Thank you for the efforts that you put into this.
Jasmine, I'll stay up here for the next one.
Yeah, don't go away. We just need to vote on this one first.
Sorry.
Nope.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, item 5.
Approving a substantial amendment to the 2021 Annual Action Plan to add home ARP funding.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember
Support.
Ashford, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. And I believe you are going to go and explain this one.
Yes.
too,
So in order to include this funding, we have to amend our home ARP plan by our annual action plan by HUD statute. So to receive this money, we amend the plan. It gets included in the plan. I plan to send that to HUD tomorrow. They will review it and approve it, and then we can start spending the funding. So until we amend the plan, we cannot spend funding.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, Councilmember Ashford.
So this is most considered a prerequisite of what you have to do to make this in order to move forward?
Yes, you had to submit an allocation plan and do the substantial amendment to your 2021 action plan because we received the funding in 2021.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, item 6.
Approving the allocation of American Rescue Plan funding to the Blue Water Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $12,000 for the purpose of creating the Shop, Dine, Win Retail Support Plan.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support?
I was just going to say support. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. And did you want to?
Yep, Madam Mayor and Council, many of you have approached myself and the DDA director in the last several months and said, what can we do to support small retail businesses in this difficult time of year, but also with inflationary pressures, and to remind folks that we have a lot of great local businesses downtown and throughout the city. We have proven success with the Shop, Rock, and Stroll and Win events in the summertime. A single event brings thousands and thousands of people downtown to visit our businesses. They take pictures in those businesses. They take photos of their receipt and post them online to enter to win some prizes. Although this may seem like a small amount, given this grand scheme of things, it's a large amount of money, but $12,000. This will be used to create those events in our downtown to induce foot traffic almost immediately. So they'll try to get those events rolling in the first part of April. The Chamber of Commerce will fidiciate this funding, fidiciate these events, and use Explore Port Huron on social media to promote these events in the downtown. This is really about getting people out of their homes into the downtown during the difficult months of the year.
I think you meant facilitate this.
No, fidiciate.
Fidiciate?
Fidiciate's the word I wanted.
So what's the difference in that?
Well, fidiciate is they're going to handle all the money, pay for the cost, and the staff. Facilitate both is they're going to manage the operation as well, but they will be the fiduciary of the funds.
And they also would be facilitating the whole cooperative.
Correct.
Isn't this something that was done by the DDA director before?
It was something that was done by the DDA director before, but given that they'll be using some of the funds to purchase gift cards and give them away, they'll be more appropriate for a chamber activity, not a government body.
Okay.
Our DDA director will be actively involved, but because of that financial aspect of it, it needs to be a private entity and not a government agency.
But she won't be part of the...
Oh, absolutely, yep. She actually worked with the chamber to put this proposal together at my request.
Okay. Is there any questions, comments?
Oh, I just have a comment. I just hope it's a two-way street. I mean, I don't have any doubt about what the chambers could do and everything, but I think the businesses need to step up too. I mean, you can have these games and everything, but we're looking for some, not sustainability, but some consistency, because our people not just going to go downtown to eat. I mean, they stay home and eat or whatever, but you just get that little small population. I just like for us to be open-minded to the fact that, the businesses have to still do something afterwards at the end of the day, because they're not attracted to going downtown shopping. I mean, we have these big events, and they're at the events. They're not exactly going downtown shopping. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because they're not.
Well, I think that's something certainly the businesses need to promote themselves during those events, as well as us promote the events and have the events. The businesses need to promote themselves during the events.
Yeah.
That's, up to them to do.
Right.
Absolutely. We will take the vote on that item.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Item 7.
Accepting the terms of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Spark Grant in the amount of $500,000 and authorizing a local match of funds in the amount of $50,000 for improvements at 16th Street Park.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is a tremendous win for our community. Very, very few communities receive Spark funding.
That's true.
We were one of the few communities that received Spark funding, but also for the tremendous amount of $500,000 to really make a game-changer project within 16th Street Park. It's a testament to our grant writing team. It's a testament to the relationship we have with the Department of Natural Resources and state officials. Nancy was actually at the table before the grants even were announced, or the grant applications even announced, to help shape that program. So just a huge win, and congratulations to Nancy, and great job for Kim Harmer and her grant writing skills.
Do you think maybe we could have Nancy explain what we're going to spend the money on?
Absolutely.
Come on down, Nancy.
We have a picture, I think.
Yep, there's a picture up there.
Oh, here it is. Do you have it? I know. Okay. Mayor Rep, City Council, we're still working. This is a very preliminary plan at this point. We also have a couple funders that we've been speaking to as well. But as you know, we did the wiffle ball field there this summer, and with the theme of free play for kids. So that's what we want to continue at 16th Street. Number one is a soccer field. We've been told that there's not a lot of areas to play soccer in the city of Port Huron. Actually, I don't think there's any right now. So we want to activate that space. We want to look at a trail similar to Sanborn to clean up the area back in the woods area there. We've already had the Friends of St. Clair River look at, obviously just taking down scrub and not trees that are, obviously want to take down a lot of trees in there because it's very nice back there, but it needs to be cleaned up. So that's part of this project. We also have a miniature football field that'll be used for kids on, that's number, I don't know, whatever that little box is there. I can't see that far, but 9 and 13 are you'll see the little 40-yard dash, and then 13's like kind of a ninja course type workout area for kids. So, since we've done wiffle ball, we've really seen, sometimes I'm like, oh, I hope this works, but we really have seen like dads out there with little kids and moms out there playing, and it's just really reiterated the fact that not everybody has funds to play on an organized team or do AAU or do this or do that, and we're hoping that these fields will be that opportunity for everyone to play. We will work with the AYSO to see if we can, use the soccer field and stuff, but that's kind of the vision right now. So we have a little more fundraising to do at this point, but the $500,000 will actually get us, actually going pretty good. And as James said, we are very fortunate. I think we are one of 2 in St. Clair County, so
that's true.
Pretty fortunate that we got chosen. So excited. So
very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions for Nancy?
Just one. This is our second one, right? Is this the first Spark?
Yes.
This is it right here.
This is the first round of Spark that went out.
Because you had 3 proposals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We kind of did that intentionally to know what kind of projects.
See which one. So this is the one that we.
That was the one that was chosen.
Okay.
And then there's 2 more rounds coming up that we will entertain putting more applications in.
You want to keep it in there, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Why not?
Can't win if you don't put a ticket in.
I know that's right. Okay.
That's true. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Mayor Rupp?
Yes, we are going to take the next, if there's no objections, 8 through 11 are all through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. They're all grants, so. No objection. Go ahead.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application in an amount of up to $300,000 to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund to assist with the second phase of development and improvements at 16th Street Park for restrooms, play areas, nature and bike adventure trail, and related park amenities, and if grant is awarded, authorize the acceptance of the offer and provide for the required local match funds. Authorizing the submission of a grant application in an amount of up to $250,000 to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund to assist with the development and improvements at Sanborn Pool and Park for a new energy-efficient boiler system, ADA parking lot, ADA repairs, renovations to tennis courts north to accommodate tennis and pickleball, and related park amenities. And if the grant is awarded, authorize acceptance of the offer and provide for the required local match funds. Authorizing the submission of a grant application in an amount of up to $100,000 to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund to assist with the development and improvements at Court Street Pool for a new energy-efficient boiler system, ADA parking lot, ADA repairs, and related park amenities. And if grant is awarded, authorizing the acceptance of the offer and provide for the required local match funds. And lastly, it's authorizing the submission of a grant application in an amount of up to $100,000 to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Recreation Passport Program to assist with the development and improvements at Court Street Pool for a new energy-efficient boiler system, ADA parking lot, ADA repairs, and related park amenities. And if the grant is awarded, authorizing the acceptance of the offer and provide for the required local match funds.
Thank you.
I think she took a breath during that whole thing.
I don't think she did. She made me tired.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Oh, give it to him or whatever.
That was good.
We have a motion and we have support. It'd be nice if we got all of those grant applications.
Would be. I just want to make sure, in all of these that we went through, number 8 through 11, they all call for local match.
Yes, they do.
With these, so we'll know we got to spend some money.
Madam Mayor and Council, I will say, Anita brings up a good point. The local match, we have been able to fund with our Parks and Recreation millage. So that 1 mil of Parks and Recreation millage is like our 2 fishes and 2 loaves. And we have really been able to make millions and millions of dollars of investments across the city by leveraging. So for every dollar that the citizens gave us for Parks and Recreation, we go to philanthropy, we go to the state to match those dollars and make them more. And I think, you drive by Haynes Park, and that is going to be one of the most showpiece parks now. It's got a $200,000 play set there. It's going to have new fencing, a rehab basketball court. You go by Optimist, you go by 16th and Division is going to have new swing sets getting put in. Every single neighborhood. We've had the Parks and Recreation millage now for 5 years, and not a single neighborhood has been left untouched by our investments in Parks and Recreation. So, factually, I'm only legally allowed to say that on May 3rd this year, you'll have an opportunity to continue that investment. If you want any facts on what that money goes towards, I can provide you nothing more than factual information from the dais.
While we're on parks and everything, I know we've been doing a lot all over, and I'm certainly appreciative of our efforts there. Do we have anything in visionary-wise for Knoxville at all?
Yes, in fact, so we've invested, Knox has been one of our largest investments. They've had a splash pad, a new playground structure, a new custom-built gazebo there to provide shade. We're now going to be working on physical attraction bleachers for the ball diamonds, as well as removing some of the old and dilapidated fencing. My whole thing is I like things that look nice, and fencing gets old, it gets bent, it looks bad, so we'll be taking down some old fencing, putting up some new fencing to protect those play areas. But yes, the amenities now are the focus for Knox.
And some new playground equipment and stuff, all that.
Well, it's got a brand new playground equipment.
On the other side, no,
Correct.
that's ancient.
The other playground equipment we just inspected, it's in good condition. I think right now they do some additional mulch, but now we're going to focus on getting some bleachers in, getting some amenities there, and clean up that area.
As you're talking so fast, you said it's in good condition. Last time I talked, you said it need to be torn down.
We inspected it. It's in the plan. I mean,
Okay.
if we got another 5 years, but every park has been touched in some way.
Yeah.
Our thing now is, I see Mr. Watkins up there, and he's a big stickler on the fencing looking nice. And so I remember that from the NWC Field Day. And so we will address the fencing with new fencing this year.
There you go, got a thumbs up.
It actually, when Kevin mentioned the fencing to me, that's all I can see now is fencing. So every park we go to, ask Nancy, every park we go to, I got to get this fencing out of here, replace the fencing with some new fencing. It looks terrible. So Mansfield Park got new fencing, Haynes is getting new fencing, 16th and Division is getting new fencing. We've increased the fencing at Knox, and we'll get new fencing there. So it's one of those things that unless someone points it out to you, you just kind of overlook it over 30 years.
Yeah, sure. Well,
Mayor,
we do need, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you to Nancy and her team, but I really think it would be fitting to thank the community for support, the residents for supporting that millage.
How true.
5 years, and look what we've been able to accomplish that without it would have taken decades. And so it's wonderful to see so many parks being improved all at the same time rather than one getting it and the other one having to wait years and years and years. So I think it's a great thing. I want to say thank you to the community for supporting that, and keep up the good work, Nancy.
Yeah, don't forget
Absolutely.
the ARP funds too kicked in there, so our administration really worked that together to double that, to go the distance with that.
We've been fortunate in the last little bit, but I agree with you that we have the community to thank. We still need to vote on the grants applications.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. That concludes our agenda. We do have a couple of announcements. Special City Council meeting will be held Thursday, April 13th at 5 p.m. in the conference room 408 to review and discuss the proposal received from Double Hall Solutions for the Southside Reinvestment Initiative. Winter decorations in Lakeside Cemetery must be removed from cemetery plots by March 31st. Removal of remaining items will begin on April the 1st. Weekly curbside yard waste pickup in containers or compost bags resumes the week of April 3rd. That makes me think maybe spring is coming. Maybe. And those are all the announcements. I guess I do want to ask James, the gentleman that spoke earlier, he asked a couple questions about the sale of the MOC. I know we're not going to, should not get into a discussion about the ballot, but the actual questions that he asked, I think it's...
Well, I think the one Pacific was a tax
Yeah, it was about the
abatement.
tax abatement and the reasons why. I
Yeah.
think we can go through that.
Yep, those were excellent questions. So this building was built in 1978, and we have not done much to it since then. So there's significant capital outlay that needs to be done. For instance, we did a parking study on the we did a study in the parking garage, which is underneath the MOC. It needs about $3 million of immediate repairs, $3 to $5 million of immediate repairs. The issue becomes is the entire building's built on the parking garage, so you actually have to do that for safety issues. We've had chunks of concrete falling from the ceilings and hitting patrol cars. We've had to cordon off sections of the interior so it wasn't a danger to employees. We've had water infiltration into our evidence room, which presents a danger to evidence and which can compromise justice for victims, making sure that the evidence is protected and those kits are protected so that if they ever have to be brought up in court, that they're not damaged by water. To purchase this building and repurpose it, even if you got it for $1 or $1 million, our ballot proposal says at least $1 million. We expect we'll get more for that. But to repurpose this building is going to take about $10 to $12 million because it has no sprinkler system in it. It has very little ADA accessibility in it. It's been all grandfathered in. So whoever buys this building and repurposes it is going to have to invest a tremendous amount. Those capital costs in an emerging market will be difficult to recover. So the up to 12-year tax abatement or 10-year tax abatement, that's a negotiating chip that we have. So we can negotiate with the developer and say, okay, based on the level of development and the level of investment, we're willing to negotiate up to this amount in tax abatement so that it can help alleviate those unusual costs for redevelopment. That's the reasoning for that. We probably won't give that much tax abatement, but it's there in case someone comes in and says, I'm willing to do something extraordinary with it. In the end, it puts a $15 to $20 million asset back on the tax rolls, and that's helpful. That's helpful, but what's really important is about density of population. If we can create this as a housing center and bring hundreds of people to live here, that's hundreds of people who will shop, work, and visit downtown retail and stores and businesses. So the question becomes is how do you take an office building, which I greatly enjoy my view. However, it's not appropriate for a city manager to have a view that nice. I'm the first to admit that, which is since 2015 we tried to sell it. But how do we take an office building, which serves its residents and the citizens, move that to a more accessible location for residents and folks in neighborhoods, and then make this a keynote economic driver? How do we take this building and make it an economic return to the retailers, to the business owners, and to the residents of the city, not just on taxable value, but also on the economic growth that it could bring? That's the reason for that negotiating chip.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yep.
Yes, Councilor.
And also speak to Mr. Harris's point about the garbage, the rubbish, the pickup.
I believe we addressed that in email to him from staff.
Oh, you did?
Yep. We received an email today from staff. Regarding the cleanup days?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was addressed to him with staff. I forwarded
No, the drop off, the pickups and stuff that you said we were doing only one neighborhood and not the other neighborhood?
Yeah, we addressed that. You got an email today from staff. I forwarded that to Mayor and Council earlier. I don't have it here in front of me, but I could.
Oh, you didn't get the email yet?
He received it today around 3 o'clock.
Yeah, and I'll express the differences. You know, the biggest thing is we have 10 neighborhoods in the city of Boulder.
Oh.
And it sounds like we're going to award one person who's already got on that list for cleanup.
Okay. Okay, Ken, I'm kind of like out of order. I didn't mean for you to say anything because we don't do that, so I'm going to just hold you right there, okay? But anyway, so read your email, give him another call.
You know, it's I just don't think the rubbish collection.
Yeah.
It's going to be a test for us.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Ken. Okay.
Is there anything else to come before the council this evening? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Madam Chair.
Meeting adjourned.